Live from the Talking Joe studios.
It's Talking Joe with Chief and Ben. Hey, it's me, the Chief. I'm joined by my buddy.
It's me, it's Ben, we're back. It's Talking Joe.
Talking Joe, would you believe it's episode 17 of the world's favourite podcast about
We're
G.I.
international.
Joes. Yeah, I don't know if it's the nation's favourite or the world's favourite, because there's lots of good Joe podcasts out there. And
Hey, it's my favourite.
Yeah, if you're listening and you're one of those podcasts, happy days, everyone. Everyone loves Joe.
Oh, what have you been up to, Chief?
So first day of the Cheltenham Racing Festival today.
You love the nags, don't you?
I work in the gambling industry, and I'm not I don't follow horse racing, but I know enough to get by. And this is, the biggest. You've got in the summer you've got Royal Ascot, then you've got over in America you've got the Breeders' Cup. But this Cheltenham, the 4 days of the Cheltenham Jumps Festival, is the biggest in the calendar. It's where all the big guns.
Is it?
It's massive. It's absolutely massive.
Do you know a lot about the ground?
A lot of rain today, so soft.
Soft, yeah?
Soft,
what does that mean?
That
Go
means
easy.
There's a lot of cut in the ground, so horses with a lot of stamina.
Slower.
Slower races. Horses with stamina, will do better. So it was good. It was good. I run a tipsters competition for Cheltenham at work, and we got 47 people entered. I think 10 quid each.
Wow.
Paying out the first top four. Just pick. All you do is pick a horse every race, and whoever does the best scoops
Pick a
a
nag.
pot. But the work, HR. No, it wasn't HR. I don't know who it was. Someone. Facilities decided. I say, let's treat these people, and they went out and bought a pret-a-manger breakfast for everyone.
Oh, that's nice.
Someone came in. They loaded up a load of baguettes and
Human
pastries.
Resources did this.
Big sign saying, please only take one per person. So
Right.
I had already had,
that.
I get in early, just after 8, and I'd already had my avocado in a wrap for breakfast, which I brought myself. Then someone said, "Oi, Chief, free breakfast in the kitchen. Don't need to tell me twice." So I went in there, and I did have a egg and sun-dried tomato, like mini breakfast baguette, which was very nice. And the big sign said only one per person. So then I waited for the crowd to die down a little bit, and I slunk back to the kitchen, and I got myself an almond croissant as well.
So you broke the rules.
Broke the rules, and I don't know if anyone
Chief,
from work's...
that's the sort of thing that would grind your gears, though.
I don't know if anyone from work's listening, but I actually went back, and in the end I had 6 croissants.
Filthy 6? You went back a further 5 times from the initial...
Correct. So basically I waited until, it was gone 10:30. And there was still food left over. So at that point, it's everyone.
Yeah, the rule is just a waste of food, isn't it? Then?
Everyone who's had one, who wanted one, has had one. So
the office environment is so dangerous for overeating, isn't it? Because stuff like that's always happening.
Because then they have this thing at certain key points, and when there's big events going on, and Cheltenham being one of them, they have this thing called the War Room. So all the big wigs and all the big shots huddle up in one of the meeting rooms and basically monitor all the systems and the performance of the online platforms, etc., just to make sure nothing's going wrong. It's the 4 biggest betting days of the year.
So they get their feed on, do they, whilst they do it?
So, and yeah, exactly. So then they brought in lunch for all the War Room people, and when I was leaving to come home, wait a minute, out in the kitchen, there's a load of food still left over from the War Room. So I pilfered myself a nice little pret-a-manger salad as well for my tea.
Crikey, Pret, you've been big on Pret today.
Yeah.
Jeez, well, I'll tell you what I'm doing, Chief. I don't know about you. In fact, I do know about you. I love Game of Thrones, and I think it just grinds your gears. I think you like some of the characters, then they die. You're not into it, are you?
I started watching it with the missus when it first came out, and I thought, this is pretty cool. And then I felt like 2 things turned me off slightly. I felt like they were just doing things just for shock value, killing Joffrey and all that sort of stuff. Why would you kill off one of your best characters?
Well, it's just, it's not really an issue with the show. That's more an issue with the author of the book, isn't it?
But that idiot then as well. So, I know it's...
Burn.
I know maybe that's, making it more realistic by killing characters and things like that. But people don't want realism, do they? When they tune into fantasy stuff. But anyway, I know I'm in a minority. And then at the end, I figured I think I gave up partway through the last season because it's just get to the end already. You're boring me
season
now.
7?
Yeah, whatever it was, just get to the end.
I see. I know that season 7 with hardcore fans didn't go down too well because there was a lot of fan service and they didn't really kill anyone off. But I really enjoyed the last season. I thought it was quite exciting. Yep. But anyway, so in preparation for the final season, season 8, I'm doing an epic rewatch.
Okay.
But I've left it really late. There's loads of like Game of Thrones forums and stuff of when you should start doing this.
Got it. Now then, I need to jump in there. When does the next season start, or the last season?
It starts on April the 14th.
If I want to jump on board this for some mad reason, am I too late?
You are... Okay, well, let me tell you the stats. Go. So it starts on April the 14th, and I think when I worked this out, this was last Thursday.
Yep.
And I worked out I had 67 episodes, 55 minutes each.
That's like 2 a day.
To squeeze in, and I had 39 days to do it. So that's 1.7 episodes a day.
I like it.
Which sounds... That's every single day. If you miss a day...
Yeah.
It ruins. I mean, you're jacked up, so you really can't miss.
Hey, I'll give you a little stat here. I'm going to say I was 11 or 12, and I vividly. It's one of my only memories as a child. I remember.
One of your only memories.
I remember
like
watching.
Egon.
I remember watching Back to the Future every day for one calendar month. I got home from school.
I didn't know you were that big a fan.
I watched it every day for 30 days. And so
Kudos, my friend.
That movie is, what, 145?
Yeah.
What's it clocking in at? 100?
So,
2 hours. So there you go.
Yeah.
I was effectively watching 2 episodes of Game of Thrones for a solid month. So it can be done.
Yeah, that's
Obviously,
awesome.
At 12, I didn't have many commitments, such as
one
wife
of your
and
only
children
few
or
memories.
jobs. So...
I like it. That's one of you. Like, if you're doing stuff like that as a kid, no wonder you haven't got many memories. You weren't doing anything else.
Yeah, great movie.
You're like Egon. You had part of a slinky, but you straightened it.
Anyway, I've derailed the conversation there. So you are now deep into this. Well, not deep.
I've done season 1.
Are you on your 1.7?
Yeah, 1.7 is interesting because
track that on a spreadsheet for me if you can.
It's unrealistic that I'm basically by doing 2. Obviously, I'm not going to watch 1 3/4 episodes every night. So by doing 2 a night, I am actually gaining time in the long run. So I'm hoping.
So there'll be days where you can get down to 1.
Yeah, so I'm not going to be on April the 14th having to watch like the last 2. So if I stay on my 2,
for you, is it? Let's say it gets to the start of season 8 and you've still got 5 episodes to go. Can you just? I
will not let that happen.
I
will not let that happen.
Can you not watch the beginning of season 8 and just delay that for a couple of weeks?
No.
Why not? Because you'll get spoilers?
Big because I think it's one of those few things that doesn't really happen anymore where I actually like watching it week to week with the world, effectively, because it is a pretty big deal for that week if you're into it. Like most people, everyone's talking about it, and I quite like that. So I don't want to miss out.
Conversing with other people about what's going on.
Yeah,
see,
massively.
I've got no interest. I've got generally, apart from you on this show, I've generally got no interest in what other people's opinion are on stuff that I'm doing.
Well, it's not really. I'm not asking their opinion. It's more just chewing the fat. It's effectively what we're doing with Talking Joe. It's just talking about it, really. Yeah. But you feel like you can't really do that, and then obviously you're really like. The media,
what I did,
spoilers and stuff, you're really worried if you haven't seen it.
What I did, so like I say, I quit halfway through the last season, but I still wanted to know. So what I did is I just went on Wikipedia to catch the quick synopsis of what happened in all the episodes I didn't watch.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, what that says is that you actually did have some kind of invested interest in what happened.
I just wanted, exactly. I wanted to know what happened, but I didn't want to waste 55 minutes of my life each week.
So I did that with The Walking Dead, and I stayed with that show for way too long. But I was like, I kind of want to find out what happened, so I sort of did that. But so that's what I'm up to, man.
So you are. I'm saying you are pumped for April 14.
I am, but it's annoying because Emma's in Los Angeles then, and I was like, I'm not waiting for you. Don't think that I'm waiting for you to come back. I was like, you're gonna have to watch it over there. We're gonna have to do it separately.
Is that going to cause friction then, or not?
Well, we kind of Game of Thrones is like out of all the stuff we watch, it's top of it. It's quite a big deal.
Okay,
but
can it end badly for you, or or not?
Most things end bad, otherwise they wouldn't end. I mean, I'm trying to think of sort of satisfying endings to films. I'm not great with endings, Chief, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I'm a bit of a junkie. It's like when people say, "Oh, I'm Star Warsed out." If the content's good, shove it down the pipe, and I'll have it.
I know what you mean, though. Endings, like that final arc, that final third of the movie is more often miss than hit, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, like in Bond films, it's just
like
a big fight.
You go out for a nice curry, you know, and it's not every time that you come out thinking, "Oh, God, blimey, that was fantastic. That really finished me off there." Most of the time, you're thinking, that was started out all right, and then it's just now I'm just a bit too full. I feel for the showrunners a little bit with ending like these insanely, the expectations on things like Game of Thrones and Lost. They are, you cannot reach them. It's impossible. Anyway, it's time to go
What's in there, Chief? You're such a nice guy now.
Serious? Okay, I'm about to offend 50% of our listeners.
I thought you were going to say 50% of the world's population.
Well, not quite that yet, but I've got a real beef. I don't mind if you want to, in the word colour, not use a U. Don't mind that. I don't mind if
crikey.
in words that should have an S, you want to stick a Z in.
Okay, so you're talking about Americanism.
Don't mind that.
Things.
But why? It really bugs me and it grinds my
Z.
gears.
Z.
Well, it's obviously the letter Z, and then you want to call it Z, fine, whatever. I can live with that. But the word herb and the word human, don't say herb and human.
Herb.
What's wrong with pronouncing that H?
Chief.
Bugs me. Massive. It's not an herb, is it? It's a herb.
No. Look, Chief, English GCSE, did you get an A?
No.
And
B.
did you do English A level? Because you are into, grammar
language.
and language. And I want to know, I want to dig a bit deeper. Where does this come from? Because it's not like you're big on sort of elocution, but when things are just wrong, I guess, and you're dealing with a finite subject. So you want, literacy, grammar, elocution, you want it to be right.
I like
the chief way.
I like it to be right, but
okay.
the chief way. Yeah, let's do it the chief way. World will be a better place.
So this week it's herb and herb. Who the hell are you hanging around with? You got some dreadlocked stoner at work.
And I've heard Americans say human instead of human.
Chief, you'd never make any kind of a stint in America, dude.
I could be completely wrong here, but I think in my mind I'm drawn to the East Coast, kind of New Yorkish.
Yeah.
Got some herbs on the pizza.
Dude, what would you do in that country if you ever had to spend any time there?
I'd correct people.
Yeah, but every menu, all the differences, all the little nuances, the spelling differences, the way they pronounce certain things.
Watch out, USA! I'm on my way over.
You'd be a madman. I mean, yeah, crikey. That's a funny one because how often are you near someone that's saying herb? Obviously, someone said that this week.
Well, basically, when I either hear it in a movie or when occasionally I listen to the...
It's a low-frequency word.
Occasionally I listen to the Vince Russo podcast. It's a wrestling one.
Okay.
And, he often says herb and human quite a bit.
Oh, okay.
And he's a New Yorker, so that's why I assumed it was from that region. But anyway...
Okay, buddy.
Should we talk G.I. Joe comics?
Let's do it! I'm pumped!
This episode, we are looking at issues 49, 50, 51 and 52. I think we had a very brief discussion before we went live from the Talking Joe studios that we're going to group these as 49, 50 and 52 as one arc, because 52 is kind of a nice epilogue to 49 and 50. And then 51 will rank as a standalone story. All right, so starting off here, issue 49. This is from July 1986, so we're working our way down there. We've got a cracking cover here. Destro and Mindbender are carrying some mummified body with, I love the fact that he's got that kind of eye peeking out. Tomb robbing, they're grave robbers.
Yeah, should we do all the covers, Chief, for the run?
Yep, let's do all the covers, that makes sense.
That's a really good cover, and I was like, okay, I know exactly what's happening here. Yep. I'm excited.
Issue 50 You've got a G.I. Joe vehicle. Is it the Mauler? I don't know what that vehicle is actually. I think it's supposed to be the Mauler with heavy metal in the front and flint in the back.
Yeah.
And the broken down sign, welcome to Springfield. Nice little town. It's kind of a war zone kind of cover.
Yeah, it's a good cover. I was not too keen on issue 51 cover, Chief.
Issue 51, this is the Thunder Machine.
Yeah.
With 3 of the Dreadnoks in the back. Kind of just, it's a standard issue. You know, we've had a lot of these Dreadnok-ish covers where they
feature heavily, don't they, on covers?
Yeah.
Maybe they thought they were big sellers. Yeah, it just looks a bit sort of, I don't know, free at the supermarket kids comic. I'm just not feeling it. How are you feeling about it? Cool vehicle though.
I don't.
Thrasher in what is it?
I think it's a Thunder Machine.
Yeah, I love it. It's really Mad Max.
I don't mind it.
Guns.
It's a bit sort of run of the mill-ish, but yeah, I don't mind it. And then
it's a bit too bold.
52, you've got an action shot, Storm Shadow and Quick Kick throwing down.
Yeah, big fan.
Good cover, I like it.
Big fan. I love Quick Kick. He's awesome.
Yeah, he's underrated.
Okay,
so here we got Larry Harmer, Rod Wiggum on pencils, Andy Mazinski inks, George Roussos colours, and Joe Rosen letter in here.
Okay, so should we just talk about?
So should we talk about the sort of the brief synopsis of this little arc?
Yeah, go for it, Chief.
I'll give you a quick rundown. So this is basically, like I mentioned at the start, it's a bit of tomb robbing going on. So Mindbender and Destra have been around the globe collecting the bodies of 10 dead world leaders, or effectively great leaders, and what they're doing is it's Mindbender's plan at the behest of kind of Cobra Commander as well at this point anyway. Cobra Commander's on board, and they're going to do some sort of cloning vat and take all the memories of all these leaders and form them into one kind of super soldier, and who's going to be kind of obedient to Cobra Commander and potentially clone even more of these guys. And that's effectively what happens, and it ends up they end up going to Springfield, and because Ripcord is told the Joes the location of the Cobra base, then you get a big fight in Springfield, and then the epilogue 1 in 52 is back on Cobra Island, and where tensions really start to mount between this newly formed Cobra trooper who might be a leader and Cobra Commander, and then you get a nice little bit with Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes as well.
Yeah, nicely done, Chief. So let's name him. We're talking about Serpentor. Here, aren't we?
Yeah. And we know what kind of stories you like. You like the big action ones. You love that Cobra Island one, and I think this is right, especially going into issue 50. This is right in your wheelhouse.
So yes, I thought it was going to be in my wheelhouse, and it is. I've just got some issues with it.
Okay, so for me, I won't spoil it, but this is. I'm talking, this could be top 5 for me, this little arc.
Okay, let's just talk about expectations then, because I think I haven't read this arc before. All I know about Serpentor is from the UK TV film, Arise, Serpentor Arise, which was, I think, maybe 6 episodes of the USA show stitched together.
Got it.
Serpentor's introduction, I know a lot about from that, and I was looking forward, foolishly, I think probably to thinking that this arc was going to be...
It was going to mirror that.
Just in terms of the depth and the time taken.
So I think I probably have, I know I have watched that, probably round at your house.
Possibly.
When we were kids, but I have zero recollection of it. So I'm coming from pretty much a 180-degree view in that I read this story, I know this story, and I can't remember the cartoon. So for me, this is kind of his origin, perhaps without the depth, whereas you're coming in wanting more.
I did want more. I didn't think that they'd earned it. I just, we had Serpentor within about 6 pages. Yeah. And I was like, hang on, what about because I was expecting them to go to all the tombs, and then G.I. Joe get wind of that, and they start setting, they start going to, picking out world leaders. They don't know which ones Cobra's going to go to, so they kind of stake out all these different tombs. It's a huge deal. By the time Serpentor turns up in the last 20 minutes of the film, it's a big deal, and I just couldn't believe how quickly it happened. But you're absolutely right. These issues are bang on the type of issues that I like. Yeah. I guess also when you're rereading something, you're just blistering through issues. Yes. And in the reality of they're coming out, there's a month in between them. I just thought they would have spent more time building up to Serpentor.
Right. I think we talked about this on a previous episode. I remember as a kid potentially not being Serpentor's biggest fan. I think you had memories of me feeling that way. Because
Yeah.
he was he a bit hokey, a bit weird. And now having reread these, I'm like, oh, I love him. I love Serpentor.
Well,
Massive
it
fan.
remains to be seen. I don't know enough about him yet. He's slightly different in the comics to what I'm used to in the TV show.
I don't know. I think,
but he's different in a really good way because he was too in the TV show. He's just aggressive and pretty much horrible to everyone.
Right.
Whereas in this, he's all about the troopers, which is really cool, and he's all
that
about.
comes through, doesn't it, in issue 50 when the Springfield's been assaulted and he's jumping in with the troops and he gets wounded, and he cauterises his wound with a
he's
hot
way
blade.
more realistic in
he
this.
Saves a medic, and then he's kind of already conniving and he's got plans, but he's very energetic and flamboyant and kind of in amongst it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's kind of in the trenches with the troops.
Yeah.
Whereas in the cartoon, he's just he's got no time for anyone. Yeah. He's just calling everyone cowards all the time.
There's a couple of pages here early on, and he's a soliloquy, which is, I don't really know what he is. There's a picture of him in a vat, and he's basically just this faceless thing.
Yeah, I didn't like his opening dialogue as well. I don't know. It was so random.
I don't know what the actual science here is. He's just a faceless thing. They feed memories in. A few panels later, he's now got hair, and obviously he breaks out and he grabs his helmet, whatever. But maybe you don't need to know the science behind it. It's just mind benders ahead of the curve.
Well, you'd have to imagine, there's some kind of just blank canvas host. Effectively, wouldn't you? And then they put the DNA and all of that stuff into it.
And obviously Storm Shadow, who got shot down by the Baroness, he's also being fed into the memories.
Yeah. And
Mindbender straps himself into the brainwave scanner to give allegiances to Serpentor.
That was really cool. I thought that was because they didn't go into that in the cartoon, and the difference is it's Sergeant Slaughter is the last bit of DNA for him in the cartoon.
Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah, well, because he rocks up just as they're doing it all, and he smashes a couple of the tanks.
Okay.
A couple of the, some of the big ones, and they're like, "Oh, crikey!" And then they're like, "Hang on, we've got the world's current super soldier. Let's put him in there."
Yeah.
So
a couple of really nice things that Harmer sticks in here. Just, I don't know, it's just kind of really cool bits where Ripcord's escaping from the Dreadnoks, and he steals a car. And there's a little girl in the car.
Yeah, with a hand cannon.
He opens the door and he's like, "You can get out here, my dear." Of course, she's a ingrained Cobra trooper at the age of 10, and she pulls out a .357 Magnum and literally just points it in his face.
Yeah, and moving on from that, it just ends. You see her standing there, this little kid with this massive.
You're welcome,
hand
Mr.
cannon.
Dreadnought.
Yeah.
Well, she says. This is a .357 Magnum loaded with hypervelocity jacketed hollow points. They make an entry wound like an extra naval and an exit wound the size of a frozen pot pie. Jeepers.
Yeah.
She's about to commit murder. And then there's a similar-ish kind of tone in issue 50 when Cobra's evacuating Springfield. There's a family and they're like, "We only take essentials." And one of the families, the dad pulls out a gun and he's going to shoot the family dog, because they can't afford to take the dog with them. It's kind of bits of dark black humour, with the gun and the. I like it.
I thought this was definitely the culmination of everything that's been. Just the way that Hawk gets all the Joes together, like everyone basically.
Yeah, Hawk's looking like a badass. He's tooled up, man. He's got shades on. And like you say, it's the biggest roll call we've seen yet. There's so many teams. The assault team and the forward insurgent team and all that kind of stuff, and everyone gets a roll call, and they've even stuck all the old boys in a team. Steeler, Grant, Rock and Roll, they've all stuck those guys.
It kind of made me feel like
Security
how far
team.
we'd come,
Yeah. A couple of new Joes here. I think we get Slipstream, Leatherneck and Lift Ticket. 3 new Joes.
Lift Ticket, love Lift Ticket, because the Tomahawk was my first big G.I. Joe toy vehicle. It was a big one, and Lift Ticket was the pilot. And that's awesome.
I mean, that Cobra, that assault on Springfield, really good. Again, it's one of those issues where issue 50, you open it up and there's a front page splash and there's a tracer fire going off in the sky. There's wounded Joes. You're right. Balls in it, from the beginning.
It's really cool the way they do that battle, because it kind of slips out of their control, doesn't it?
Yes.
you feel like they're doing well, but it ends in such a mess for them, really.
Yeah, and then Destro and the Baroness are trying to evacuate. This is another one of those filmic
Bit
issues.
WW2, isn't
I
it?
want to
Yeah,
see
they're
this
trying
as
to
a
get
TV
people
episode.
out.
Yeah, they're trying to get people out, and they
Don't take anything, just go.
They stage a diversion, don't they, down the runway or wherever the airfield, under cover of night and noise and smoke and stuff, to get the choppers out.
Yeah, and Baroness and sort of going to Destro and saying, "Look, shall we? This could be our moment." But Destro is quite loyal to Cobra Commander.
Yeah,
well, not loyal, but he doesn't want to. He just doesn't want to sack him off.
He's playing the long game, isn't he? He wants to keep all sides sweet, so he can choose. He can play he's previously in his castle. He had all the playing pieces on the chessboard. He's kind of a manipulator. I think he wants to. And
he's not convinced yet by Serpentor, is he?
Exactly, and Serpentor's kind of not wooing, but he's wowing the Baroness.
Yeah,
she's kind of not fallen for him, but she's fallen. The spiel of Serpentor.
What's the big diversion that Serpentor does to finally secure the evacuation?
They put a load of his tanks without drivers in.
Yes. Yeah.
And the Joes kind of end up facing their own. There's like vehicles coming the other way, and it actually turns out to be their own guys. All the guys get away. They're now evacuating back to Cobra Island, and this is the last bit of the issue there. Cobra Commander, who at the beginning of issue 49 was, a cool panel of him standing on a hill clenching his fist, was Serpentor's about to come into being. Now at the end of issue 50, he's like, oh shit, this guy, we don't want this guy because now he's going to take over.
Yeah, well, I think he's realised, he's like, oh, quite, hang on, we've been going around these tombs and stuff, and we've been hand-picking out leaders, like great leaders, and he's like, well, obviously Serpentor's going to think that he should be leading Cobra.
And Harmer does a really cool thing, at the start of 52, he's really started laying in some battle. The battle lines are being drawn, the sides are being weighed up because
Civil War
is on the horizon, and he's already sowing the seeds because he's got Cobra Commander, and you've got the Crimson Twins are kind of loyal to him.
Yeah,
you've got Serpentor with potentially the Baroness on his side, etc. Destro, we don't know where he's going to fall yet. Cobra Commander's set up an assassination attempt.
Yeah,
on Cobra Island.
He's got all the snipers ready
up there on the tower. For when Serpentor comes in, he's going to kill him off straight away. I mean, that is a big move, but Serpentor...
I was glad, though. Cobra Commander's had, 50 issues of being built up, and I was quite happy with where he was, and I was like, don't turn him into a bloody clown and just get, bitch slapped by Serpentor. I was like, yes, he's going to try and mack him straight away.
Yeah, I like that, yes, but Serpentor knows it, doesn't he? And then, he comes in and he's hugging Cobra Commander, and they have to call off the snipers.
He smashes straight through, doesn't he? He just drives
and immediately Serpentor knows the game that Cobra Commander's playing.
Totally.
Now Cobra Commander knows, so they got to play nicey nice in front of the troops, but behind closed doors, they're arch enemies. And then Cobra Commander then tries to stage another assassination attempt with the Dreadnoks.
Yes.
And
you've got some comedy panels there.
There's a bit where they say, look, we know where the G.I. Joe base is because Zartan was there, because he actually gets rescued from the G.I. Joe base, the pit, because he was obviously Sergeant Slaughter knocked him out in a past issue. And in issue 51, which we'll go on to next, he gets rescued. And now he's out, but he's like, Cobra Commander, we know where the pit is, let's assault it. And Cobra Commander diverts him. He says, that is less important to me, knowing where the G.I. Joe base is. More importantly, I need you to come to Cobra Island. I've got another mission for you. And it's effectively kill Serpentor for me. So we know what's most important to Cobra Commander, and it's being the one and only leader of this organisation.
So how does that go down? So the Dreadnoughts disguise themselves as... like Flint and Lady J and Snowjob, don't they?
That's it, yeah.
But it doesn't even really get started, does it? It just...
Yeah, they kind of break in through the window where Serpentor is, or where they think Serpentor is, and Destro's already there with some troopers.
Yeah, that's it. Destro turns up.
Yep.
And, squashes that.
And Serpentor comes in and he's like, thank you, Cobra Commander. I really couldn't have set it up better myself. Stroke of genius, really, having Zartan and retinue impersonate Joes to attack me.
Oh, man.
So he's wise to him, he knows. So
yeah.
You get that bit at the end where Hawk is there and he basically tells the team that because of what happened in Springfield and obviously on the back of Cobra Island, the G.I. Joe team is going to get disbanded.
That was a nightmare for them, the Springfield thing. I mean, they shot up the whole place, effectively a town, laid it to waste.
It would be...
a massive battle went down there.
It's the equivalent of
and they got nothing.
It's the equivalent of what a lot of films, especially superhero movies, have been accused of recently, is just mass destruction of effective civilian death.
Collateral damage.
Collateral damage is the word I'm looking for, yes. And a lot of movies these days are being, accused of that and not addressing it by the heroes.
Yes.
By the heroes of the piece don't address it. And, this is a prime example of it happening back in 1986.
Yeah.
I guess the majority of people in Springfield would have been Cobras, I guess. But
well, I feel
they
like
must have
they've
been
had some
intersprinkled
high...
with some civilians, surely.
Yeah, they've had some high level failures.
Yeah.
The G.I. Joe team of late, I think.
I
they've
just
been shut down.
I want to quickly cover this bit. Storm Shadow he's not dead, because obviously we saw him get shot by the Baroness. Then we saw his mind being given in part to Serpentor, but then he actually wasn't dead.
And he's taken on a little bit of... I don't know if he's taken on their powers, but he's got their memories, hasn't he?
Oh, amazing. There's an amazing panel. He's now gone to the pit. He's infiltrated it when the Zartan rescue happened and had a little fight. There's a real cool battle scene where he battles some Joes. They're doing some training exercises, which is a really cool page. Stalker and...
They're sort of taking out their anger, aren't they?
Stalker and Quick Kick are going at it, and then Scarlet and Barbecue. A real cool page. Storm Shadow comes down.
Stalker's got one of the nunchucks, hasn't he,
love
from
it.
Quick Kick.
Storm Shadow comes down, does an amazing split jump, kicks Barbecue and Stalker, and basically takes out Quick Kick, because your question on a previous episode was, would Snake Eyes handle Quick Kick? Well, here we see Storm Shadow handling Quick Kick.
Yeah. But
he doesn't want to fight.
Diffused,
he doesn't want to fight.
He
sees Scarlet, and they have a little sort of, his heart, Snake Eyes' heart is my sword brother. I just want to speak to him. And she says, something's changed in you, and that's when he says, he got shot, but then he remembers being in a tank. And there's a real cool panel where you see a close up of his face and a skull, and in the foreground are all these world leaders, these great leaders.
He gives him...
He needs some time out, Storm Shadow, so he gives him the key to his log cabin, doesn't he?
Which is funny, because he's given him a key to something that's been utterly decimated.
Yeah, he got blown up by Firefly's grenade.
Yeah, so when he goes there, and it's all smashed to bits, isn't it? And he sort of sits in and takes in the view.
It's the very last page, isn't it? He goes and he finds the trapdoor, and then he timbers the wolf timber is there, and he kind of sits and he sees this lovely horizon with the sun setting. I
thought that was quite a nice ending there for Storm Shadow.
Yeah, really good.
You find a bit of peace.
Yep.
Whoa, should we Yo-Jo Cola it, I guess?
Yo-Jo Cola it. So this is 49, 50 and 52.
I'm going to give it an 8. What are you going for, Chief?
I'll give it a 9.
Thought so.
Okay.
I think also, just with Serpentor, he gets his garb, doesn't he? His yellow stuff.
Yeah.
And his hat and everything. All the snakes and the serpents on him, they're not real in the comic, are they? Like they are in the TV show.
Doesn't he have a headdress like around his neck that he can solidify almost into a snake?
An asp? No, not that. What he does is he takes the snakes from his collar, and he sort of straightens them and uses them as... Oh, okay. So, yeah, he doesn't do that in the comic, does he?
No.
It's a bit rich.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, now we're on to issue 51, which is called Thunder Machine. And this is... another bit we actually failed to mention is at the last page of issue 50 that we see a new member of the enemy, which is Zarana. And this is Zartan's sister.
Yes. Yeah.
I like Zarana. Big fan of Zarana.
Yeah, I had the action. And what's her brother called?
Xandar.
Other brother, Xandar, yeah.
And he's the one everyone forgets.
They're twins, yeah?
Not sure. Does she call him a twin brother? So at the moment,
they just feel very linked in terms of their design.
At the moment, there's three of them: Xandar, Zarana, and Zartan.
This issue, I actually really enjoyed it, but it felt like this was a toy issue.
This was very much a toy issue, which is what the issues, the not the problems, but the things that took it down for me. I mean, you've got new characters. You've got Xandar, Zarana, Thrasher, Tollbooth, Cross Country, Thunder. Then you've got the Thunder Machine and the Havoc.
Yeah, I mean, what other comic has to introduce so many characters on an issue-by-issue basis? Not many, unless you're a tie-in toy comic book.
Correct, and a lot of...
they are a slave to this stuff, so
yeah,
that's just what it is.
because so many new characters were introduced in every wave, it's not like you've got 3 or 4 new characters in every wave. You've got like 10, 15.
Well, I'd say more than that. Yeah,
Even more than
loads.
that. Yeah.
And vehicles. But the vehicles that are getting introduced, I am a big fan of. The same Christmas that I got the Tomahawk with lift ticket, I got Havoc with cross country.
Yes.
It was a heck of a good year for me.
Yeah, that's a good vehicle. I like that.
Oh, Havoc's so good. The thing at the back folds and you get that little hover thing.
Yeah. I mean,
this
is it's very much. I think on a previous episode, I had mentioned that the storytelling on a particular one was decompressed. I actually meant compressed. And here's another example of compressed storytelling. Literally, in the space of about 4 pages, the Dreadnoks, or Zarana and Xandar, have infiltrated the pit, disguised as Joe's because she's stolen some courier document and she's disguised Lady J, and within 5 pages they've escaped with Zartan from the pit.
Yeah, and they are just wacky races. They're on the loose, and that's how the issue goes, doesn't it?
Yeah, then they're chased by, like you say, the Havoc, and there's an all striker, and the Mauler goes out, and yeah, it's like a wacky races catch the pigeon scenario.
It is actually, it is. But all of the things that are being introduced, I love.
So was Thunder? Was he a driver
Thunder's
of a vehicle?
awesome. Yeah, he is the driver of the. No, Thrasher is the driver.
Yeah. So who's Thunder? Is he the driver of a vehicle? He's a Joe.
Holy smoke!
He's in charge. He's in the pit.
They also introduced the guy that lays the bridges. What's
Toll
his name?
booth.
Yeah, toll booth.
Yeah, but I don't remember Thunder. You see,
no, nor do I. Do some research
I
on
consult
Thunder.
my 3 Joes manual.
Also, Torch says g'day.
Yeah,
and I was
Aussie.
like, he's not Australian as well, is he?
I don't know.
I thought that was just who did I think was Australian?
Ripper.
Yeah,
And Buzzer is British? No.
I don't know. Anyway, that was a surprise, but yeah, I Thrasher's awesome.
I mean, it's
and
a
his
good
vehicle.
Yeah, another cod piece.
Yeah, it's just that vehicle with the Gatling guns on the front is just badass.
Yeah, he's modified the vehicles.
That's it, isn't it? It's like a stock Cobra vehicle, that isn't it?
It's almost
that
a bit like
hasn't
a
been
Stinger,
introduced.
almost, that he's kind of modified, kind of. But I thought it's great action scenes here, and Rod Wiggum, is my favourite G.I. Joe artist, I think. But for something about this issue, his art wasn't the best I've seen it. I don't know whether it's the Inca or no, it's the same. It's Andy Mazinski, but I don't know. Some of the art just looks,
is it the colour palette you don't like,
possibly
of where they are?
Something's just maybe it is the colour palette. I mean, it's great. It is fantastic art, but just not quite as, I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but
What's the brother called again, Chief?
Xandar.
I had them both. That's it, Xandar.
So basically, you fall into the trap of his actual character. I think you've asked me 3 times what his name is, and the main.
Well, it was always a bit confusing with those guys.
His main shtick is no one ever remembers him.
Yeah.
And you've actually it's transferred from the page into reality in your mind.
I think, and I have a feeling that loads of G.I. Joe fans feel that way about him. I don't know. He's a bit of a nothing guy, really.
Yeah.
If I remember, in the cartoon, she's the one with all the dialogue, and he's just sort of there.
Yeah.
I like their look, though, man. He's got a wicked blue bandana on.
Yeah. When they bust out Zartan from the pit, he immediately uses his holograms stuff in his outfit to help them escape the pit. Why, when the Joes had him captive, didn't they take all that stuff off him and put him in like regulation prison outfit?
Yeah, well, this is where I get when the that gets a bit overused. I'm not really into it, but
and Harmer drops a nice little nugget just in case you were wondering why Zarana and Xandar were saving Zartan. It's not because of brotherly, sisterly, sibling love. It's because Zartan has hidden a trove of gold liberated from a South American dictator, and he's buried it somewhere in the swamp, and only he knows the location. Yeah. So that is basically Zarana is a money hound, and she just wants some of this gold. So that's why she saved him, not because it's her brother. She couldn't care less. But she's a schemer. And even early on, when she goes into the Dreadnoks, she says there's grape sodas on the table there. They're only $1.50 each. So she's charging the Dreadnoks, and she's going to charge him interest as well on that on that $1.50.
What did you think of the the kind of the ending, the way they hoodwinked Slaughter.
So Slaughter the other Joes have been trapped by a train or whatever, and they can't pass it, and they've lost the tracks because they're tracking them, aren't they? Like a beeper. And Slaughter's gone off in that little utility vehicle we talked about in the back of the Havoc.
Yeah.
And he's found a gas station, and there's some dude at the front porch on his chair. Seen any people come by? And he points them in that direction. And of course, it was Xandar in disguise as just some gas station clerk.
Do you think he was too easily fooled there after all the kind of disguising?
No, I don't mind it. I can go with it.
Yeah, it's fine. Where does it sit with you with your Yojo Colas?
That's a 7 for me.
Yeah, it's got to be a 7 for me too, because there was too much. Like, I have nothing against introducing stuff, and the stuff they're introducing I absolutely loved, but
it felt not forced, but it felt like a
toy comic. I was like, okay,
comic, yeah.
Definitely felt different from the main kind of run.
So next week we're going to be reading 53, and then we're also going to be doing special missions 2, 3, and 4, and we'll also include, because we didn't have time in this one, we'll also include that little, I think it's 12 or 14-page special missions preview from issue 50.
What is it?
Now,
what's it called?
Best Defense, is it?
I think I called it Executive Decision because it reminds me of that film.
That's a Kurt Russell movie, is it?
Yeah, it's a Kurt Russell movie where Steven Seagal's in like the first 15 minutes and they kill him off, and it's really strange.
Yeah.
Because you think he's going to be like the main guy.
So yeah, we're going to do 53 and Special Missions 2, 3 and 4, plus that little Best Defense Special Missions preview. So we'll do that. Before we sign off, obviously, we've got to do a little something we call Chief Asks Ben a Question. Chief Asks Ben a Question. What'll he say? What'll he do when Chief asks Ben a question?
I did a little dance to that. You can't really see it.
I did not do a dance. I am sitting in my loft on a beanbag. I fear if I got up, the beanbag would make a lot of noise. So I am not a soccer fan, as you know, but you are a big soccer fan. So my question this week is, going back, for a long time in soccer, I'm going to keep calling it soccer, by the way, which is actually a UK-based term. It was the term soccer was invented by
to sell it, yeah?
By the English. I don't know.
Okay.
Managers and teams for a long, long period of time played the 4-4-2 formation, and for those who don't know, that means 4 defenders, 4 midfielders, 2 attackers. Or do you prefer strikers or attackers? What's your preferred?
Strikers, please,
strikers. Chief. Okay. But then over the past 10, 15 years, maybe even 20 years, we've seen a lot of funky formations. What's your formation of choice?
Do you know, it's funny you should say that, because there's actually, when a team does play 4-4-2, it's a really big deal now, because it's just so isn't done. Like, everyone does the diamond, or they do.
What does Spain play as a nation? Don't they play one up front?
Or you do like a 4-3-3. I don't know traditionally what Spain play, and also now it's trendy to have, you've got your wing backs bombing forward as well. But then the big thing that's happened in the modern game is the holding midfielder, the defensive midfielder. So the guy that kind of drops back, who plays a little bit in front of the defence, but a little bit, behind the midfield. That is basically what everyone's looking for. And someone that can just hold the ball.
And what is
quarterback?
And I assume it's not used anymore. And what is a
sweeper?
What is a sweeper?
Well, now it's the sweeper keeper, Chief, isn't it?
But what's a sweeper? Tell me what a sweeper is.
Well, I guess it's just distributing the ball out from the back. I mean, I don't really understand what the term is.
So is it effectively what you just mentioned there, that kind of defensive midfielder?
No, I don't think it is, because no one uses that term anymore. What they say is sweeper keeper, which is a keeper that absolutely never does, hoofs it out. You play it out from the back,
right?
Not hoofing it, right. Which not long balling it. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. I have to research it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Oh, my brother's off to see. Who's he seeing? He's seeing the Chicago Bulls v the Lakers tonight.
LeBron's in town.
Yeah, the GOAT.
Yeah. He is the GOAT. A lot of debate here. I think he's better than Jordan. I watched a lot of Jordan's career. I probably started watching in 91, and I think he came into the league in 86, 87 possibly. So I've seen the majority of his career and all of LeBron's career. He's
just beat his points total, hasn't he?
He did just go into 4th place, I think.
4th or 3rd, yeah.
I think he's the GOAT. However, Jordan has never lost a finals. He's been to 6 finals. So basically, Jordan won 3 titles with the Bulls.
Yeah.
Then he took 3 years off and played baseball, minor league baseball. And
Yeah.
then Bulls did nothing. And he came back, and then as soon as he came back, they won another 3 titles. So he's gone to 6 finals and won all 6. Although they could have lost. They should have lost to Phoenix. And there was another one that I think they could have lost. And LeBron has been to 8 finals in a row, which is a modern day record. I think his record is 3-5.
Yeah, who was he playing for before the Lakers then?
So he won for the Lakers. He was at Cleveland, and he won 2 titles at Miami. Because
Wow,
there's a big fervour when he was at Cleveland for many, many years, and he left to go to Miami to play with his buddies Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, and there was
Miami Heat.
people in Cleveland burning his shirt in the streets. F LeBron.
Yeah, you get a lot of
all
that.
this kind of stuff. And then when he said he wanted to go back to Cleveland after Miami, "Hey, let's welcome back the hero, hey LeBron." Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So they're going to miss the playoffs. This will be the first time LeBron's missed the playoffs, I think. And
wow.
So he doesn't have Jordan's stats in terms of titles, etc., or achievements. But for me, I don't know. I think he's the GOAT, but what do I know?
Nice.
We will expect you all faithful listeners back next week when we'll be covering those issues that we mentioned. 53.
Yeah, excited about special missions.
2,
They're
3, and
wicked.
4, and that little bonus one, Best Defense. You can find us in all the usual places. talkingjoecomics@gmail.com. I had another couple of emails from my auntie Jenny in Australia. She's still digging the podcast scene. I might read one of them out next week. You can find us on Instagram, Talking Joe Comics. You can find us on Twitter, Talking_Joe. All the good people out there retweeting us. Thank you very much. We're in good company. Lots of good G.I. Joe podcasts. Find us on Facebook, Talking Joe, a G.I. Joe podcast. So we're in all the usual places. If you want to rate and review us, that'd be nice, because I don't think we've got many. And we're going to keep on trucking.
We certainly are, Chief.
With that said, we will see you down the road.